of my favorite quotes is by journalist Rick Bragg. And it's, to get someone to tell you the truth, get them to tell you a story. And so I'm going to start off and kind of tell you a little bit about my story. 3 really significant events that kind of shaped who I became, as a person and also as a creative. And it's really kind of shaped my career and how I approach just doing the inner work. So when I was in the 5th grade, I had one of my closest friends. His name was Garrett. We used to sit in class every day. We used to, write, draw, not listen to the teacher, things that you do in the 5th grade. And Garrett was also really bullied a lot. So it was kind of an escape for us to, bless you, sorry, have manners. It was an escape for us to sit in class together and to work and to draw and sketch and things like that. We had a lot in common. We had our birthdays were in the same month. So, if you're a Pisces, you kind of understand it's a really strong, connection if you have a birthday in early March. And right before we turned 11, Garrett committed suicide. That was the first one. The second moment, end of college, senior year, was a communications major. I have a background in journalism. And at the time, president of the Delta chapter at my school, president of NABJ. I had an internship. I had a full load. I had a part-time job doing all these things. Got completely burned out. So by the time the end of the year came, I was so tired that I could have pretty much rolled out of college, literally got on the ground and rolled out of Martin, Tennessee. But I graduated right at the height of the recession, so that didn't necessarily make the situation any better. And so that's when my battle with depression and anxiety started. And so once I graduated from college, of course, there were no jobs in media. There were barely any jobs in the country in 2009. So that was my second experience. The third experience that really shaped me was, being in Tennessee for a couple years. Couldn't find a job, working at FedEx storing boxes. I know I'm short, so it doesn't look like I can load an airplane, but I can load an airplane if I need to now. And, got my heart broken, moved to Atlanta, had enough. Got to Atlanta thinking yes, I'm in Atlanta, Black Hollywood, I'm going to do all these different things, and completely reached my bottom. Could not find a job. The people that I were working with were very shady. So it went from, yes, Atlanta, Magic City, woo, party, to sleeping on the floor for a year, getting my car repossessed. I had a really difficult period where I had lost 3 family members in the span of 6 months, right? So my granddaddy passed, my great aunt passed, and then I had a grandma who passed, all in the span of a 6-month period. So coming from, Tennessee, coming out of college, already depressed, right? Already had dealt with, suicide with someone close to me, right? That was pretty much my bottom. And honestly, what saved me, of course, I'm a person of faith, so definitely God was a big part of that, but also, my gifts and my talents, creativity, and then also the relationships that I was able to build through social media really, honestly, truly made a difference. Because the good thing about Twitter, Facebook, the internet, is that it's free. We don't have to pay to use it, for now, unless Trump becomes president. Let's hope that's not the case. But I think the biggest thing too was to really face the reality of there was not going to be a job, a city, an opportunity, a personal relationship that could save me. I had to save myself. And that, for us, for our non-people of color counterparts, creative living, even as a professional, whether you're an entrepreneur, whether you're a full-time, creative or whatever, they make it look really easy, right? Like if you take this course, you'll be fine. If you create a course, you'll be fine. If you read this book, you'll be good. You take this Excel doc, learn how to do Excel, you'll be fine. And the reality of the situation is that that's not the case, right? Many of us are coming from family backgrounds who were, the first in our family to graduate college or even go to school, or we're the first in our family who is not committed to having a traditional job, right? We're doing a lot of new things in our lives that a lot of our family members don't really understand. So it's very lonely, it can get very isolated, and that can also kind of contribute to a lot of the things that we have to deal with from a psychological perspective. But again, going back to, one of the things that really helps me move forward, just really understanding that it's different for us. As creators of color, we face a completely different set of obstacles, not just from society and from a cultural standpoint, but then also from our families and the people that we love. Because my grandma still doesn't know what I do. She just knows it's with the computer. And that's fine, because it's, it wasn't a part of, how she grew up. It's very much a part of how I grew up. But that can get very difficult. And navigating that space can get, again, very lonely. And it's really easy to contribute, to our, mental health. It takes a toll on us physically, spiritually, emotionally. And so, again, I believe that, what helped me was facing that reality and being really honest about my experience and pushing through the process and learning about myself. So I just kind of want to share a couple of things that I think we really have to face in order to be successful. And when I say successful, I don't mean like P. Diddy successful. I mean, whatever, you want to do, whatever your definition of success is, I would encourage you and prompt you to follow that and really just define success for yourself. So I just kind of want to talk about, a few things that I had to learn in my journey in order to really overcome. So the first thing I had to learn was that passion is not enough, right? It can get you started, but it's not something that can sustain you. And I think a lot of times we hear if you're passionate about it, you can do it. But yeah, passion is cute. Day one, it's a lot of fun. But when it's, day 385 and you need to pay your rent, it's not passion. You can't pay your bills with passion. And I think we hear a lot of times, follow your passion, it's good for you. Yeah, but it doesn't sustain you, and the things that really honestly do sustain you are the habits that you learn how to build over time. I think we kind of underestimate sometimes how long it takes for something to be accomplished. And so yes, while you may be passionate about design, it could also take you a few years to really get to the place that you want to be. I think I started writing for the internet in 2017. I just joined Ebony in 2015. Like it's a process. And it definitely wasn't passion that carried me through it. It was definitely learning, these different habits over time that could sustain me. And I also had to learn how to be flexible with it, right? Yes, I did want to be a writer, but in 2009, that was not what was going to pay me. So yes, I'm passionate about writing, but I also had to learn how to be passionate about throwing boxes at FedEx every day so that I could pay my phone bill or so that I could keep Wi-Fi on to use the internet. So I think that's something that we really have to come to terms with because we can't make being a creative or owning your own business. There's a lot of glamour that goes into that. Like, we see things on TV and we see things, these people and celebs that have made it and it looks really cool. It looks really sexy, but it's not. It's not a glamorous thing at all, and it's not a process. It's definitely rewarding, yes, very rewarding, but it takes a lot of hard work. So I think once we start to demystify the whole passion is necessary idea, I think we can kind of get to really the root of what it is that we should be doing and what we should be focused on. And, how you, passion is really tied a lot to how you feel. And as I'm pretty sure all of you all know in the room, that your feelings don't always kind of lead you to make the best decisions. And so I think that's why it's important that you have to get out of, passion. Oh, I'm passionate about it. Yeah, you're passionate about it now, but what are the things that are going to sustain you in the long run? Because you don't want this to be a one-time thing. You don't want to do this work for 6-7 years, and then when you get there, you're like, oh, okay, I'm not that passionate about this as I thought I was. So I think that's why it's important to not put, as much emphasis on passion. Like it's truly important. The second point I want to make is that if, you are not taking care of yourself, then nothing will work. And I say that because self-care right now is the in thing, right? You hear self-care all the time. Take care of yourself, take breaks, eat well, take a bubble bath, do yoga, go on a date. All these really pretty ideas about self-care. But when I say that you have to take care of yourself, that also means self-accountability, right? That you have to be able to learn how to check yourself. And I do this probably on a daily basis, but again, kind of confronting the truth. Like you know why maybe certain things are not working because, can I cuss? No? Can I? We are grown? So if you if you know that you half-ass everything that you do, if you know that you met someone at Bread Boston 2 months ago and it was a really dope connect and you didn't send that email, you know why you're not building relationships. I think the biggest difference and the most important difference between self-care and self-accountability is that self-care can tend to be reactive. Self-accountability is very proactive. Like you have to be in a space where you can be honest with yourself and that you can check yourself. So when you have, 2 weeks where, every weekend you went out, you spent money, and then the 1st or the 5th or the 3rd, sometimes the 6th if your landlord is nice, if that comes around and you don't have your rent money, just being real, like your priorities are not in order. You have to get into the space of checking yourself and knowing yourself enough to call yourself on the bullshit that you do or don't do. That's important, right? Because a lot of times, we like to put so much validation on who does what for us or the opportunities that we receive that we don't realize how much that we play a role in the things that happen and don't happen, right? So if an opportunity comes up and you don't get it, but you spent, all summer long, all summer 16, hanging out, chilling, not working on your craft, well, how can you expect to get an opportunity in the fall when you didn't work in the summer? And then you wanted to chill in the spring. And then when the new year, you were good all January. And then February came, and you're like, I'm going to take a break. Right? I think that self-accountability piece is so important because we like to say when we miss out on things or don't get opportunities, oh, I didn't get it because of this, or this person doesn't like me. And, 9 times out of 10, we play a bigger role in the things that happen to us. So I think that's important to be able to really check yourself. Like, you want to check yourself before somebody else checks you, right? That would be the idea of it. Because hopefully we should be in a place where we can start to kind of catch our own mistakes before somebody else does, or before it really costs us more than it has to. And the third thing I really want to say is that, we live in a time now where, and hopefully it won't always be like this, but the internet really kind of dominates our perception of not just ourselves, but kind of the society and the world around us. A lot of us, you know, even if we're not a part of the quote unquote millennial generation, a lot of the intention now is kind of like the culture is really like all about improvement, right? Like I can do anything I want to do just because I want to do it. It's very kind of like me, self-focused. You know, I got Twitter, this is popping, or this is popping, or I got this many views. And so whatever opportunity that I want, I can, you know, I can do it, I can pursue it, I can do it by myself. And really that's false. Honestly, your mission is really a lot bigger than just you. I think, again, because social media now makes things so accessible, quote unquote, and so easy that we tend to think like, oh, I don't need anybody else to do this. Like my Twitter, girl, I just got 8,000 Twitter followers last week. Like Instagram, I got 162K. Like I'm rolling. Like I don't need anybody. And honestly, that's not the case, because what you're doing now could have the potential to really affect generations behind us, right? Not just our families or our loved ones, but also our communities. And I think that because we live in such a social media driven era, we think now that it's just all about us, right? All about what we're doing. Let me show and share what I'm doing. Let me show, you know, I went to Boston this weekend. Let me show all these pictures. Let me put up 25,000 selfies. And, you know, our gift and our talent is really more than just how it serves us, because I believe that God gives us gifts and talents to serve others and to make the world better for other people, right? Not just ourselves. I love the work that I do, but I think what keeps me humble and what keeps me grounded is that I know that I just wasn't given this gift just for myself. And I think that helps in a lot of ways, because it takes the pressure not off of just, you know, what you do and how you do it, but it places, you know, placing that attention on other people really helps you put things into a perspective that you didn't realize before. You know, I was like the first person in my family to go to college. Of course, we had no clue what we're doing, so shout out to Sally Mae. And for a while, once I graduated and could not find a job, and then Sally Mae came, and then, Navient now? Once they started to come at me, I really started to resent going to college. Like, what did I go to? I went to college to go into debt? That's what the purpose was? And it really didn't hit me until I had a niece that started college this year. And every day she asks me 25 questions about college. How do I make friends? And I met this girl, auntie, she's weird, but I want to get to know her, or I'm taking, you know, tests for the first time, or I have questions about this form that I'm supposed to fill out for school. Like, I was able to help her answer these questions. And I could remember thinking about how I didn't have that when I went to college. Like, I literally, all 4 years, it should have been 3.5, but you know, things you learn after. But all 4 years, I really had to navigate that myself. But the good thing about me kind of going first is that the same failures, the same mistakes I made, she doesn't have to make. So that way, when she makes money, she can help auntie out, because I'm gonna still be paying student loans when she graduates from college. But I think that's really just, you know, the biggest thing is that it's not just about you, especially as people of color. I think that one of the things that we really underutilize is the ability to come together and make connections and build relationships. And that's not just, on the professional sense, that's also on the personal sense, because when I was going through depression, when I was going through anxiety, talking to other people is what saved my life. Because I had other people who could say, oh, you didn't get out of bed today either? Like, what? You didn't get out of bed either? No, you didn't get to go home for Christmas? Girl, I didn't get to go home for Christmas either. Like, we're here on campus alone. Let's be together. Like, that's important. And I think if we make that perspective switch from using not just our creative talents and gifts, but also this power that we have in our hands with social media to be able to genuinely connect with people, that can save somebody's life, honestly. So, in conclusion, the creative process, whatever you're doing, whether you're building an app, whether you're starting a business, a blog, an organization, is that it's a very hard process. I'm not here to tell you like it's easy, like, follow your dreams, passion, whoop-de-woo, 3 steps, and you're good. It's one of the most difficult things that you will have to undergo, but it pulls out the best in you if you are willing to submit to the process. So that's my time.